We just heard Jonathan Ashworth saying that, look, if you're an experienced politician, you won't get drawn into making predictions. I'll see if I have any more luck with you. What's a good night for the Lib Dems in the local elections?
Well, I think we can make really good gains, actually, Sophie. The last time these seats were fought, we made big gains. We made over 700 gains 4 years ago in these particular council wards. But I've been going up and down the country. I've been to Stockport and Greater Manchester. I've been to Hull in North Yorkshire. I've been down to Lewes and Eastbourne, all around the country. And what we're hearing on the doorsteps is lifelong Conservatives really quite cross. They feel they've been taken for granted. They feel that the government is out of touch, whether it's on the cost of living crisis or the NHS crisis, and they feel that the Liberal Democrats are coming up with really good ideas. They like our candidates who are sort of really good local activists who represent their areas really well. So I'm feeling very positive that the party's got momentum, and I think we will make good gains.
OK, well, that's the pitch. You were pretty clear at your election launch what the plan to get there is. You were sort of pictured driving a tractor through a blue wall, so obviously got on the Conservative blue wall of seats in your sights. Are you going to go after Dominic Raab?
Well, Dominic Raab ought to resign as an MP and face a by-election, and if he's not prepared to do that to enable his constituents in East and Walton to have the MP they deserve, I think the government should withdraw the whip from him. Otherwise, they're sending a message that bullying is somehow OK in the Conservative Party. But when it comes to local elections, there's the Elmbridge District Council elections in his constituency. I think we will make big gains from the Conservatives in those council elections. And at the next general election, we will defeat Dominic Raab. Well,
it's interesting, isn't it? Because I feel like there's a kind of tactical question for the Lib Dems about which kind of voters you go for. And it's very clear from the launch and listening to what you say that you do see Conservative seats as a particular target. So does that mean, are you to the right or to the left of the Labour Party?
We are putting forward a Liberal Democrat position, whether it's on the economy, dealing with the cost of living. We were the first party to argue for...
If I may, I'm just going to jump in, because I do kind of feel if you can't answer that question, some people will be asking, what is the point of the Liberal Democrats? You've got to cut through. You're a smaller party, the third biggest party. You've got to have a clear message, surely. That's always when you've done best on things such as the Iraq War. You can't even tell me if you're to the right or the left of Labour.
No, we have a very clear message. You're defining it in terms of left and right. I'm not accepting that definition. I'm saying we have positive policies on the economy to help people with their energy bills, to help businesses who are struggling with their energy bills. We've got really distinctive policies on the health service. Let me give you one. Everyone knows that in order to sort out the NHS, we've got to sort out social care. There's 165,000 vacancies in social care. Only the Liberal Democrats have put forward an idea that there should be a special minimum wage for carers, £2 an hour extra on top of the national minimum wage to deal with that crisis. Because if we deal with the crisis in social care, Sophie, that will help a lot of patients be discharged from hospital. They're waiting days, weeks in hospital when they should be going out because there's not the carers to look after them. That puts extra pressure on the NHS. It wastes money and is not good for those patients. So Liberal Democrats are coming up with really attractive policies on our health services, on the economy, and that's distinctive from both the other parties.
I mean, I absolutely concede that social care is a hugely important thing in this country. But I guess my question is, at a time when you need to cut through as a smaller party, is a bit more money for carers really going to do that? If you look at the latest polling, for example, you can see the Labour Party doing very well compared to the Conservative Party in the polling. The Lib Dems, I mean, you're still kind of bumbling along the bottom, and I'm trying hard to differentiate your line there between all the other smaller parties.
Well, Sophie, when we get to actual elections, which I think is really what matters, we are cutting through big time. So the local elections last year, which party made the biggest gains? And these elections were across England, Scotland and Wales. It was the Liberal Democrats making the most gains. At 3 parliamentary by-elections in the last 2 years, in true blue areas, like in Cheshire and Amersham and Buckinghamshire, it was the Liberal Democrats who beat the Conservatives. In North Shropshire, a seat the Tories have held for 200 years, we cut through and we won that seat. In East Devon, in Tiffin-Honiton last summer, we overturned a majority, the biggest majority ever overturned at a parliamentary by-election in British electoral history. We were getting cut through and beating the Conservatives. And what I'm seeing as I go around the country and talk to people, we are the ones who are getting those lifelong Tories switching to us. And in vast swathes of the country, both of the council elections in May and the general election, whenever it comes, presumably next year, it's Liberal Democrats who are the ones who are best placed to beat the Conservatives, and we will get that cut through and beat those Conservatives.
Looking ahead to next year, the general election, which does feel quite unpredictable, if Labour falls short of an outright majority, would the Lib Dems enter a coalition with them?
Look, Sophie, my job, as far as I've said throughout my leadership, is to beat Conservative MPs. We have a positive Liberal Democrat agenda, and that's what we'll be standing on. And, you know, when I go around the country and talk to voters, they feel the Conservatives have taken them for granted. Liberal Democrats are not going to make that mistake. We're going to work really hard to make sure we get as many Liberal Democrat MPs back after the next election and beat as many Conservative MPs as possible. I could not have been clearer.
Well, you haven't been that clear in answering the question that I posed, which is, would the Lib Dems go into coalition with Labour?
Well, Liberal Democrats' job is to beat Conservatives in the next election. There are one or two seats where we're up against Labour, like Sheffield Hallam, but the vast majority of seats that we can win in the next election, in my judgment, are against the Conservatives. And I want to focus relentlessly on that. I think the Conservatives have let down our country very, very badly. That's what Conservative voters are telling us, whether it's on the economy, on the health service, on the environment, for example. I mean, here's an issue we've been cutting through, Sophie. The outrageous way that the Conservatives have allowed water companies to pump their filthy sewage into our rivers and seas has really, really angered many, many people. And it's been the Liberal Democrats leading on that campaign in Parliament, in the local elections. And I'm delighted that many parts of the media are now following where the issue that Liberal Democrats have first put on that table.
Okay.
That's the sort of thing that if you vote Liberal Democrat, you're going to get a strong position on the environment.
OK, I'm very clear where you are on the water. I'm still not clear about whether you'd enter a coalition with Labour, because some would say that, look, if you really want to make impact on things such as the environment, then you've got to be in government. Would you enter a coalition with Labour? It's a really clear question.
Yeah, and I'm giving you a clear answer. The more
really
Liberal Democrat MPs that get elected...
I really don't understand.
No, because I want people to vote Liberal Democrat to both to beat Conservative MPs and to get Liberal Democrat policies. And I've outlined a number of those policies to you today. And that's the job of political parties, surely, is to stand on a set of policies, on a set of values, and put them into the electorate and hopefully win seats. So MPs can do that in Parliament.
If you don't feel able to answer the question about whether you'd enter a coalition, just say, look, I'm not going to answer that question, because I'm trying to work out if I'm supposed to be reading between lines here or if I just don't get it. Would you enter a coalition?
No, it's quite clear, Sophie, because when I go up and down the country talking to people on the economy, on the health service, on the environment, that's not what people are asking me. They're asking me, how are you going to deal with our problems? Yeah, but I know you are. But what I feel is that Liberal Democrats and all politicians, frankly, should respond to the electorate, make it clear where they stand on those issues, and not take voters for granted. I mean, in many ways, your question is taking voters for granted. And I'm not going to do that. I want to make sure that we earn people's vote over the weeks and months ahead, so at the next general election we can get rid of this shocking government who's failing our country, is just so out of touch with people who can't afford food bills, can't afford their energy bills, and are desperately trying to get that hospital treatment they need.